How's everybody today? We good? All right.
What can you share on Derek Carr's outlook?
I've already seen some reports out there, a little bit false. So right now, obviously, like I said yesterday, Derek's dealing with a non-throwing hand injury. As it stands at this moment, I don't believe it's going to be an IR situation. I think it's going to be a week-to-week situation. So we're going to kind of take this day by day this week. We'll see how this week plays out. But that's really where we are right now. So it's a non-throwing hand. He is in the concussion protocol also, so he's got to complete the first step of that tomorrow. So it is a double aspect in terms of the injury. You're dealing with both. So we got to obviously, see what happens there. But this will be a day-to-day right now this week. And really, I think it's going to end up being a week. The way it looks, it'll end up being a week-to-week situation with him.
A couple thoughts.
Yeah.
In the concussion protocol means he was diagnosed with a concussion?
He was. So regardless of the hand, and I think that's maybe where I know there was initially, there was some question, he went down. I think they were initially more concerned about his concussion at the or the head injury aspect of it in the beginning, and then kind of went to the hand injury as a secondary thing.
And then, regardless of what the prognosis is with his hand and what they have to do to fix it, can a quarterback play with this? Pete Werner played with a club. Alvin Kamara played with a broken hand. Like, what needs to be satisfied for you to consider playing a quarterback who has a broken hand?
Yeah, well, it's a good news, bad news situation, right? The good news is it's not his throwing hand. The bad news is we're obviously dealing with an injury here that's that we have to kind of play it by ear with. And I'll say this: it's been done before. I don't know if it was Justin Herbert off the top of my head or Josh Allen or whoever it was. Has had these injuries before with this non-throwing hand. It appears at the moment that it's non-surgical, which is a big aspect of it. If it was surgical, we'd be talking about having a different conversation, which is why this is going to remain day-to-day, week-to-week type of thing. And so, but it has been done before. I think you guys have seen before where guys have played with whatever that thing is called. I don't even want to, where your wrist and all that stuff. So that's why we're going to kind of discuss the options and see where we're at. So, like I said, we're also dealing with the concussion aspect of it. So we have to make sure he's cleared there from that aspect, and then we'll take one step at a time. If he clears a concussion, then we'll see if he's going to be able to function. And listen, it might be, and like I said, literally a week-to-week thing here as we go. If we get more functionality back and see where we're at. So he's obviously sore today. It's the day after the injury. So when I say day-to-day, we'll see how he follows up with the everything, swelling, all that kind of stuff. We'll see where he's at moving forward.
Is there a fracture?
I'm sorry.
Is there a
I
fracture?
really don't want to get into that. There's been a lot of news out there about that. He's going to have a second opinion here, and we'll kind of see where. So I don't want to go into the exact details. As I get all that back and we can confirm that, we'll move forward with that. Just he's dealing with a left hand, left wrist type of thing.
You would believe that he's out this week, though?
I don't believe that yet. So we're not going to rule him out just yet. I think we have to see how the next day or two, what the healing process is like, and see if he can function. But again, don't forget we're also dealing with the other aspect too. So.
How do you deal with practice this week then, with the uncertainty with him?
Yeah, so we're going to have to make a decision here today on probably if Derek doesn't go, kind of the direction we're going to go between Jake and Spencer. We'll meet this afternoon and we'll have a plan. I'm going to tell you that whoever that guy is going to get probably the majority of the reps here moving forward this week in the event that Derek doesn't play. We're going to have to make a decision on that sooner than later. As you know, we don't get a lot of practice days. So the rep count's going to be important. And so, I'll sit down with obviously with Clint and with Andrew Janocko and everybody. And the offensive staff, we'll make a final decision on whether we're going to move forward here this week with Jake or Spencer, and we'll go from there.
What will go into that decision, Darren?
You know what? Listen, I got to be honest. I actually feel, I'm not trying to play the fence sitter here. I actually think both guys give us a chance to win. I think, obviously, the last time Derek was out for an extended period of time, we decided to go with Spencer. I think Jake and both guys, have performed well right since training camp. And so, I thought in that last go-around, we felt like Spencer gave us the best chance to start. And so, that's where we're going to kind of list all the pros and cons, who we playing, what defense, what's the game plan. here are the weapons, and so that's all the things we're going to discuss today. We'll have a decision by that probably tomorrow.
Were you involved in that earlier decision, or was that something that just DA?
Yeah, no, that was DA and the offensive staff last go around. So
You obviously inherited that situation, though. I mean, did you make a conscious choice to stick with Jake in that backup role, and was that you in some ways choosing?
yeah, so we.
Above Spencer for that role?
Yeah, listen, I think a big part of that the last go-around was, and all the discussions, and like I said, I wasn't the decision maker, but in hearing all the thoughts, Jake's been our number 2 in every game, and the games that Spencer hasn't been the starter, he was the emergency 3, and so we just felt like Jake gave us a better chance in that, just no different than yesterday, Jake coming in there at the end. And so, we have to figure out whether or not, again, which guy we feel like is going to give us the best. Like I said, I don't want to be the guy that feels strongly both ways. But I really do feel like both guys in their own right can give us a chance.
What's the difference between choosing one person to be the backup on game day, but then maybe choosing someone else to start?
Yeah, I felt, the offensive coaches at that point, the last time Derek went down, felt like Spencer gave us the best chance in those particular games we were playing. Had a little bit to do, I think, with the teams we were playing, the defenses, all that kind of thing. And so, but Jake's gotten considerable reps here the last few weeks, so that's what we got to decide.
But I mean, you've been, since you've coached 4 games, you've chosen Jake as the backup. How is that not the same as saying he's the next guy up? You know what I mean?
I do.
What would be the possible?
Well, that's been the case the entire season. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's been the number 2 in every game. If I'm not mistaken, he's been the number 2 in every game we've played, whether Derek or Spencer was the starter. We felt like, the offensive staff felt like that's the situation. I think this is a new ground, if you will. That's why we're going to kind of press the reset button here. It's a clean slate. We're going to go and make that decision. Again, I'm not ruling Derek out, and I'm not declaring a starter just yet. We're going to kind of put it all on the table and see, what we feel. But I think both guys, listen, I go back there purposely with the look squad offense every week, and Jake and Spencer both have really done a great job in practice. So I think both guys bring, a positive to the table, positives to the table.
When it comes to evaluating like how Spencer did the last time, do you kind of look at the offensive line he had? Because I think McCoy may have been out and maybe some other guys.
I mean, everything goes, right? The receivers, all right, the offensive line. Well, obviously, we've been dealing with injuries all year. So, it's going to be a total package on that type of deal. So, yeah, we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at all that. But
Is it possible that the week starts with Jake and Spencer handling the reps because Derek's not ready? Would later in the week, Derek could be cleared and could start without practicing significantly?
I think that's likely, actually. I think it's likely. Whoever we go with, decided between Jake and Spencer, I think we'll likely get the majority of the reps here early in the week. And a lot of that has to do with also the concussion protocol, because you got to take the steps, and there's only certain things you can do. And so I think that whoever that guy is will get a majority of reps. So,
But Derek could conceivably start without practicing most of the week?
conceivably, yeah. Yep.
What did you think when you watched tape of the game yesterday?
Listen, I'll tell you guys exactly what I told the team. Bottom line is, the good news is we left a road game, outdoor game, elements, all that stuff. We left with a win. It's certainly at times. I thought our defense played extremely well for 3.5 quarters. They had 98 yards with 10 minutes to go in the game, and then their last 3 drives they had 162 yards. So, we didn't finish particularly well on that side of the ball. With that being said, if you told me going into the game that their 2 tailbacks were going to have 50 whatever yards, on 2.9 yards a carry from the tailback position, I would have told you we were going to win the game, because I really felt like that was an important aspect. We obviously let the quarterback run a little bit, which we're not going to be able to do this game coming up, because that guy's going to make even bigger plays than their quarterback did. That's going to be a huge, thing that we got to get corrected. Offensively, again, we had too many drives where we had 5 plays or less. That we've got to do a better job of sustaining drives. Now, fortunately, we had the 2 longer drives. It took some time off the clock and gave us 14 points. I mentioned yesterday I felt like our first half special teams performance was lousy. There's a lot of things we got to get cleaned up there. We fumbled the opening kickoff. The first punt of the game is not a good punt. They get good field position. We had a couple of penalties, a late hit out of bounds, and just some uncharacteristic things we did, which enabled them to have some field position. Here's the good news. Good news is we came out of the third quarter. We made a big deal about coming out of halftime. Their first two offensive possessions were punt, and in our first two possessions of the second half, we got a touchdown out of the second possession. So we turned the ball over deep in their territory in the first one, but we did respond and get a touchdown. So listen, there were some takeaways like every game. I've heard the narrative a little bit, well, you didn't beat a great team on the road, blah, blah, blah. Listen, the team that's the kind of the standard right now in the NFL is the Chiefs, and they've had a lot of these type of games in the last month or so where maybe going into the game they thought they were going to win by a lot more, and they've squeaked out some wins, but they find a way to win the one-score games every week. Here's the good news. We have found a way to win 2 one-score games in the last 4 weeks. That's something we hadn't done well in the beginning of the season. So we found a way to win. It was a blocked field goal, whatever. That's what we needed to take to win the game, and we won the game. So trying to obviously stay positive at the same time, make the corrections from the game.
Did you all get away with one on the blocked field goal?
No.
That's not a penalty?
No. So from a rule perspective, what you cannot do is you cannot grab the player and pull him to the ground, but you can push down on his back and push him to the ground. That's not holding. So holding is grab and pull. If a player is low and you push him to the ground, that's not considered holding. So we practiced that. We repped that. We felt like we had an opportunity there, and that's why and really Brian gets all the credit, but it was a phenomenal job by Nathan Shepard and by Peyton Turner of getting their 2 players to the ground so Brian could jump through the A-gap. And then when you leap through the A-gap like that, you can't leverage. So he can't put his hands on anybody, and he can't land on anybody. So it might not have looked exactly prettier as it looked at practice. He stumbled a little bit, but we got enough. We got up, we got over, and he got enough up to get a hand on the ball and make it not go in. So that's kudos to him.
You can't push down on their helmet, but you can push down on their.
You can't hit him in the head, but you can if the podium here was the flat back, you can push down on the player. You just can't grab and pull him to the ground. So, and then the penalty that they got earlier with the 3 points off the board, the officials determined that action started during the play. It wasn't a post-play foul. Initially, I thought they were going to just back them up on the kickoff. Officials got together, and the action of number 63 started while the play was still going on. So the initial act, he picked Peyton up and kind of slammed him on the ground, and that's why they backed him up there 15. That was obviously a huge play in the game, too.
Will Todd Grantham finish out the year with you guys?
No. So you guys have some context with Todd. So Todd has been offered and accepted the defense coordinator job with Oklahoma State. It was a situation where it was a really good situation for him to go in there with a fresh start with Mike Gundy, and so so Todd will be finished with us here as of tomorrow. So we me personally appreciate what Todd's done for me personally the last month. He's done a heck of a job here behind the scenes with the defensive staff, but it's certainly a great opportunity for him. He made the decision he wanted to get back into the college game, and he's obviously been a coordinator before at a couple of really good college programs. So I think Mike Gundy's getting a great coach, and congratulations to Todd.
Will you hire someone to add to the defensive staff?
No, I think we're going to kind of keep the staff the way it is right now. We might just kind of shuffle some of the responsibilities around on how we're doing it defensively. But Todd has been up in the booth for us on game day, kind of overseeing a lot of things. And I think probably Peter Ginta and some of the defensive guys, Grizz and some of the guys will take care of some of those responsibilities. You guys wanted to go all QB today, huh? All right. I understand. All good.